So when I wank on and on and on and on and on and on and on about timing, what I'm talking about is the ability for a recorded device to be clocked by my desktop audio workstation, which is Cubase, using a VST, which is by Expert Sleepers, who make the Disting and the various other things, the ES9. The VST is called Silent Ways, and I'm using the Silent Ways Sync VST. Now, what that does is via two audio outputs on my Motu sends the clock and start or clock and run or whatever you want it to be. I think it can send reset or any combination of things, but for my setup, it's clock and run. So I've got 4 instances of that set up, and one instance goes to my vector, one instance goes to my disting, sometimes one goes to my circadian rhythms, which isn't in the rack right now. And right now, of course, I'm getting it set up on a 4th one to run with the Isla S2400. So I've gone in and with a bit of experimenting, I've set the offset to 3, and I always set these voltages. I don't know why. Early on, I just found they worked well, and when I don't have them, it's not as good. So what does that all mean? It means when I hit record here, that VST starts sending a clock output out the back of my Motu, and then that's going into input and output on the back of the S2400. And I've got that configured so that the clock in and out are configured. Clock in is set as clock and clock out is set as run. It doesn't have to be clock out. I configured it as something else in the menu, which, by the way, I managed to do without reading anything in the manual, which is really good. It means it's a well laid out device, at least if you know what you're doing. So what that means is when I hit record, the playhead starts, the audio signal for the clock starts coming into the 2400, and the run signal starts on the beat. And that's when this thing will start playing the sequence that I've programmed, which is just a snare drum on 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Here we go. Yeah, so if I stop the clock, or stop the VST, or I stop the playhead, then the Isla stops. You know, you would have done all this stuff with MIDI in the past. Now, when you look at that grid, that snare drum is hitting right on it. Now, I'm going to try and zoom in, and you're going to get vertigo watching this. I'm sorry. And it's about as bang on as you're going to get. And this is zoomed right in. Yeah.